Hello everyone. Uh, I'm going to walk you guys through the second part of step 6 in the introductory homework and step 7, just to make sure that everybody has the same idea and to get comfortable with this environment, since Linux and Git are not necessarily the most intuitive things to understand, so I think just having a little bit of comfort on seeing what actually happens will give you guys a lot more confidence in what you're doing in your homework. So to start here, I'm going to start with the setup Git in your virtual machine. Not going to watch those videos, but I am going to do the configuration of Git. So on the bottom here, we have the terminal screen that we can click, and that brings up our little terminal screen. This will be eventually important to be acquainted with. So if I just hit ls, which lists the contents in my directory, so I can see what I have here. Not important for this, but always good to know where you are in general. Git config global, so I'm going to set the Git configuration for all repositories that I'm going to be making on this computer. And I thought that I could snap that to the side, but I can't. Okay. So global, and then the first thing I want to change is my username, which is JD Kent. Then I'll also do git config global with my email. uiowa.edu. Awesome. Then git config list to make sure I set those configurations, and it looks like I did. Alright. So now moving on to step 7, getting your class repository. So I'm going to follow this link. I could see everybody else's labs repository, but you should only be able to see your own. I have my own just for here. And I'm actually going to reopen up that previous page that I was on. Just so we have that reference working with us. So I clicked on the labs, my ID, which is JD Kent. In the upper right hand corner, you should see watch, star, and fork. Watch, star, and fork, and I see fork. I've already forked it to my own repository or my own account, so I can't fork it again to my account. So once the repository has been forked, you should see it clone or download. So that means I'm going to go to my profile, click on my repositories. I'm going to have a few. There's my labs. So now on this page, we have the option to clone or download. So I click on clone or download, and I copy this URL to my clipboard. So yeah, the path name should look something like that. So yeah, so back on your terminal screen, so we're going to move over here. We're going to make a directory that we're going to put all of our stuff. So this is the same idea as making a folder if you're used to Windows or something, or Mac. It can be something that we can see using a GUI or just using the terminal, and GUI stands for graphic user interface, in case you didn't know that. So anything like a folder finder or any type of application that you click through would be considered a GUI. UIMRI course 2018. Right, okay, so that looks right. Then if I ls again, then we can see that we made that folder, so I can change directories or cd into UIOMRI course, and now I'll use the command git clone with the thing that I copied and pasted, and to paste into a terminal, usually have to do Control-Shift-V instead of just Control-V. That's a nice little shortcut. So I'll hit enter, enter my name, enter my password, oh no, enter my correct password, and it looks like it's done. Alright, so cd into the labs, and it looks like I have all of the labs that we currently have. So I've completed 5, 6, oh, I need a cd exactly. Oh no, didn't want that. Just need to switch back to here. So cd into 00 lab. Alright. So you're going to make changes to your forked repository, but in addition, we'll be adding material to these labs as the semester goes on. To make sure you're always staying up to date, we're going to connect your forked repository on your local computer to an upstream repository on the organization page. So we're going to connect this repository with the repository that's linked on the UIO-MRI course page. And the way that we can do that is with git add remote. Get remote add, sorry. I'm a little bit dyslexic. Get remote add upstream, so that's just what we're going to call this UIO-MRI course repository upstream, and then we're going to copy this address. Well, no, not that address. This address. I wish that I had better selection capabilities on here, but we're just going to go to the main page and add it like that. So if I click here, click that. So I'm back at the main upstream repository page instead of my forked repository. Keep opening your terminal, don't want to do that. And now I'm adding the correct URL to the upstream repository and where labs will be added to. So to make sure that I added it correctly, I can do get remote v. That'll list all the additions I have. So now we have origin, so that's the where we cloned this repository from our own forked GitHub account, and then we have an upstream, which is from the UIO-MRI course. All right. So now we can open up our own version of the notebook using a Jupyter command. Jupyter notebooks are really nice for the person that works with imaging data or any data that isn't really collected in a wet lab. Jupyter notebooks really fill the gap that we need to be able to process data and be able to annotate the data that we collect and the processing strategies that we use. So it's very useful for those types of applications. So I'm just going to type Jupyter Notebook while I'm here. That'll open up a new URL, open up a connection on the website. Well, it'll open up a connection on my browser. It's not actually connected to the web. And I'm just going to call that Markdown because that should be Markdown. Okay. So now there should be a My Favorite Ice Cream. And I'm going to change the answer down to here. And my favorite ice cream comes from time in college when we went on a training trip for our swimming team in the summer, or not in the summer, in the dead of winter, uh, in Florida. And since we swam twice a day, we got very hungry, and I got very attached to a particular ice cream called Party Time. And I think it was just vanilla, fudge, and peanut butter, but it was the most delicious thing, especially after you're burning who knows how many calories every day. So that is my favorite ice cream. So now that I've made the change, I'm going to hit save, then go back to the terminal screen. So this terminal screen right here. I guess at this point we can either close down the notebook or open up a new tab. So if we close down the notebook, we're going to hit Control C and then hit yes, and it'll shut down the kernel for us. Then we don't need these anymore. And then the next command will be, well, first let's check the status to see what's been changed, if anything. Oh, it looks like the introduction was modified, so we'll do git add introduction. Then we'll do git commit answer, say what we did, some of the stuff that we're going to be doing is a little bit going to be more complex than this, so the messages might actually be more informative than the message I'm giving right now. So it says one file changed. Has a couple extra insertions and deletions. That's just something that we is a part of the Jupyter Notebook background, that the code that you don't see. But realistically, you only made changes to one line. So that's following these instructions. So then the next step is to git push origin master. So again, this is pushing to your forked repository. So hit username, password. It pushed. All right. So now I should be able to check it on my forked repository. And maybe, there we go. So now that I've made favorite ice creams party time, so now I can submit a new pull request by clicking right here. And the base fork is going to be the UIOA MRI course, and the head fork is going to be my fork right here. And now I can create a pull request and just leave a little helpful message. Answer the question. You can say ready for feedback, or if you have questions, you can say that you had you weren't quite sure about something. You can leave all that type of information here. Then you'll create a pull request, and eventually we'll come back and we might give you another comment or say what needs to be done in order to fix your response. With this one, this assignment, this is just to get used to it, so whatever ice cream you pick is going to be a good answer. And eventually we'll be able to merge it, but you will not be able to merge it to the UIOA MRI course. That is something that we reserved only for the admins, so me and Michelle. So that is just a mechanism that we will use to check your work. So how we will check your work is that we will go down and we can make comments. on line by line. So, or at least ideally, we can make comments. There we go. So we can make comments line by line if the functionality would work for me. Okay, well, it doesn't appear to be wanting to work right now, but ideally, you'd be able to click on one of these lines and it would open up a little place for you to leave a comment, and then we could give you feedback on a particular line of code in case we wanted you to make changes or to think about something that you did, and that would also pop up on the conversation over here. So you'd be able to see comments along this line, so you can respond to those comments and those reviews and then make changes. So if somebody said that, oh, you can't have party time as your favorite ice cream, you can say, okay, make the change. Make the change to your code. So you have to be something more tame, so chocolate. I'll save that. Close out of these again. Close this. Check git status again. So yeah, I made a modification. So git add, git commit, give a message. Git push origin master, enter my username and password. Alright, and we'll see that on this page, if we reload it and it loads, the commit will automatically be added to the pull request. So you don't need to submit a new pull request if we request you to change an answer or something. It'll automatically be changed. So yeah, that's the basic workflow. Again, if you have any questions about what I did, you can reach out on Slack or talk on any of the channels if you think somebody else is going to benefit from asking the question too, which most likely they will. And have a good day.